For the third time.
I know so this is Big Bottom Podcast Videocast episode 3. And today, for me, in my computer, Howard's here. Howard Ulyate.
Howard is right here below me.
Actually, yeah. I guess he's below everybody.
Steve over here.
That's me, yeah.
John's over here. So,
diagonal.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, how are you guys, man? Big Bottom, man. How's everybody
Tony.
doing? This is crazy.
Fine.
Crazy
Good.
time, man. Everybody's hanging
Playing on coffee.
I actually had a super busy day already today, so.
Yeah, Howard, did you see John did a live concert earlier? It was really
No.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. There's a guy named Josh out in Toledo that for the 4th year he did a thing called the Glass City Get Down and Low Down, which was just like a music festival, and they always took a lot of all the donations and everything and tickets and stuff would go towards the local animal shelter.
Nice.
And, I've played it all 3 years, and it's one of those, it's like you don't get paid, but I get food from the gig. And I was like, you're helping out a good cause. You're getting some free food. It's a win-win.
Nice.
So this year, obviously, they couldn't do it. So about a week or two back, Josh said, hey, does anyone have any aversion to doing an online version of this instead? And most of us said yes. The people that said no were actually people that are like educators, and they said, I'd love to, but my Skype lessons have exploded over the weekend, so I just don't have time. So we just did something like that.
Yeah, sounded great, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was really good, actually.
Yeah.
That rig I may use a lot more. It's the Schroeder 2x6 that he built me with the Aguilar Tone Hammer 500.
And I know
Howard, what are you using right now? I know you are you a Schroeder guy, Howard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been using Schroeder cabinets for a while. My favorite Schroeder cabinet is the one with a single 12 and a single 8 and a horn. And then I go between a GK head, one of the Legacy 800 heads.
Yeah.
Oh.
A Mark base head that I also like. But I don't know. I go between the two. Right now,
Mark
I'm
II.
more of a GK guy.
Little Mark II. Which one do you have right now, Howard?
The Marcus Miller model.
Oh, the Mark.
Oh, okay.
And I like it. It's funny though. The GK head to me is more hi-fi sounding than the Mark bass, than the Marcus Miller Mark bass.
I love the Legacy. 3 of us, I think, have it. But even me, who I have a bright sound, I tend to dial back my highs to about 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah. I also find that I have to turn the gain knob up higher on the Legacy amp.
So I just talked about this. I don't know if my video is going to be released because I didn't kind of like it. But here's the deal about the gain knob, in case there's any GK people out there. I had this talk with Forrest about it. Treat it like you would, like you're recording. You want to play your most aggressive notes to where it starts to peak at the red and then dial it back a little bit. Same thing like you would a fader, like, ooh, just drop it back here. That's how you want to treat that gain knob. That was Robert's concept on that.
The trim knob, right?
Yeah.
Right, Tony?
So for me, for the trim knob. So I know almost all my basses have the same output because I have meticulous. I go through a board, everything's up, got a compression running, and for me it's about 1 o'clock. But if I was to play like a passive jazz bass or something, it would probably be close to like 3 o'clock. So.
Oh wow! So you'd be all the way up there. Nice.
That's basically almost where I set mine, and I play active bass. Yeah.
I mean, I'm playing active too, but I'm also playing in series.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more output most of the time. Yeah.
So we're in different parts of the country, which is kind of cool. I'm in Southern California. Tony's in New Jersey, Boston, Michigan for John.
Jersey. Yep.
And I know, sorry, Tony. And Howard's in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just how are things there? How was that
transition for you? That's a big change. I mean, I know you've been there for a while, but you know.
Yeah, he was still in
I'm
California.
on my second year here, and I moved out here from California.
Yep.
And so far, we love it out here. You know, it's you know, getting used to the weather. I will say the California weather is the best in the world, and getting used to it here, it's been an adjustment. But just about everything else here is just great. The music scene is unbelievable. You throw a rock and you hit a killer guitar player. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And people here are very nice, very friendly compared to Southern California. It's been a great change. Also, I now live on 50 acres of land instead of living in a tiny house where the lot is somehow smaller than the house. You know, so it's great. It suits my lifestyle. I love it here. We love it.
And winding pickups for everybody now. And
yeah, that's the other thing is I have a tiny little shop on my property, and I'm still, with all the things that are going on in this lockdown, I'm still getting orders, and as long as the mail is delivering, I'm still able to you know, generate a little bit of income and be able to work and not be sitting here by myself going crazy with nothing to do. A lot of musicians here, you know, are really suffering because there's just all the gigs have dried up, and there's so many guys here that just make their living playing on Broadway.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, Broadway's completely shut down, correct? I mean, there's nothing going on.
Yes.
Man.
Nothing. It's unbelievable.
And how about...
And then, you know, there's a lot of wedding gigs and everything like that. That's all shut down. I technically don't have anything until the end of May.
Wow.
But that's still up to be determined.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all up in the air right now for any of us for performing.
So
Really,
same with you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Stopped. Boom.
No private, not even private functions or.
No.
Whew, it's too bad.
No, and all the big bands, especially out here on the West Coast, that were doing big events, corporate events, to those gigs on the park that they're booked out. I mean, I actually just talked to a buddy of mine earlier today that the governor said, hey, we're not doing anything for no concert or whatever for the rest of the year or through summer, and he instantly had emails that had people canceling the events. Yeah, so hey, we'll try next year. And so the rug is coming out from under, a lot of us. So that's...
Have y'all apply for stimulus checks or any sort of grants or?
I did, and I haven't gotten anything yet. I need to go back and
I'm waiting.
Yeah,
same here.
I don't know.
Steve,
I got my stimulus check on Wednesday.
You got one?
I did.
Nice.
I did direct deposit on there. I don't know if it's because, I usually get my taxes done like early mid-February.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a standing appointment with my accountant, so I can just bring everything there, and we've done it. It's now a very, very easy thing. So I don't know if it's that maybe the people that have filed their taxes already get it first and then it rolls out. I have no idea the rhyme or reason of that.
Yeah.
So.
Steve, can you elaborate? What did you hear about what's being canceled for the rest of the year, you heard?
The California or the mayor or whatever, the governor, I forget. I'm second-handing this, so I apologize, but he extended something for public events. I'm not sure if it's through the end of summer or whatever it was, but it affected my buddy who plays all these corporate gigs and big events, and they just canceled. They just had a bunch of 4 cancellations, right? Boom, boom, boom after that announcement. So, yeah, that's tough, man. Yeah, so anyways, but yeah, so for people that don't know, Howard Ulyate, for me right here, there, it winds pickups for so many people,
many people.
A lot of people out there.
Yeah.
As well as, Howard, you also would sell direct to customer too?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, most of my business is direct to customers.
Okay.
And most of my business is facilitated through Facebook and word of mouth. Yeah, most people that contact me through Facebook Messenger.
Well, you got a good
Instagram.
You have a good word of mouth following, which is fantastic. I mean, your pickups I have them in several bases, so they're they're happening. I know. I think all of us have either heard or played or had bases.
Yeah, I think have I only played one at your house, Steve, I think.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, the name definitely precedes yourself.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
well, I've been at it for some years now, and it's it's been a slow build. But I wanted the slow build as opposed to the quick.
Oh, absolutely.
And then not be able to handle anything.
Yep.
Being a one-man operation, I'm still real protective of my ability to produce, and this needs to be fun. It still needs to be fun. When it becomes not fun anymore, I won't want to do this. Yeah. So I protect it, I guess, by keeping it slow and keeping it small. And I don't need to make $1 million. I just need enough to, feed my wife and my dogs. Yeah. Keep the bills paid.
And yourself. Feed yourself something.
Well, I'm a little bit overweight, so I could stand to probably drop a few lbs.
So, and I remember when you started, it was out here in Southern California. I mean, how long has this been now? When did you start?
I'm going on 10 years.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
I mean, 10 years from like the day that I started, like when I first got my first tiny little winder from eBay and started modifying that and making little Strat pickups, and just, starting from trying to make things work to getting to, starting with things getting to work, making something that would pick up a string. Technically I've been in business for maybe 7 years.
That's cool.
But I've been at the pickup thing for about 10 years. And I've been doing guitar repairs and things like that since 1989.
Repaired. I can't tell you guys how many basses Howard has fixed and wrenched on for me. I mean,
I first saw Howard online with you, Steve.
Taking apart that 70s jazz bass. Remember that? And that was at Howard's place. Yeah, and it was we were taking it, and it was Nick, Laura, Doug Keppen, you, me. Yeah, it was
Was that black jazz bass?
Yeah, black 70s jazz bass.
Yeah, that was a good day.
That was a good day. That was fun. So that's where Tony first saw us.
You two. Both of you two. And then I connected with Steve somehow through like mutual friends. And then at NAMM, like, hey, like, it's like we already know each other type of deal,
Yeah, and then same with John. Like, I only knew online. That was like literally like long lost brothers. Like, oh man.
Yep.
We're like, all the four of us are literally the same person. We all have the same deal. That's why we probably get along so well, But so, and then pickup wise, so I know mentor wise, and you had, I mean, Kerry Nordstrand. We can't not mention him as being one of your mentors in the pickup game, because he's so, for one, he's so good. He's been doing it for such a long time, but he's such a nice guy and so giving. So
he's been a help to me, and he really has mentored me and helped me in so many ways, to the point to where I'd have to be careful. Like I would purposefully not ask questions because I'd want to make discoveries on my own.
Oh, okay.
But he sold me my winding machine, back in the day. I don't know if you can see it, but that's my winding machine. I bought that from him.
I remember that.
He sold it to me, gave me a great deal on it, and this is where I make everything is on this crazy old machine. So
wow.
And then I've actually bought a few other machines from him as well that I don't really use as much because they don't have the space for them. But then, just having somebody that you could go to with questions if you have problems, and winding pickups is like, there's not a lot of information on the internet about it. So to have somebody that you can go to sort of get some information about things, it's been great. And he's a really super forthcoming guy. Yeah. He's all about the information, and then what you do with that information is what sets you apart. It's not actually having it; it's what you do with it. And I take that to heart. And he's really helped me, and I try to help people now because he's been so great. I want to be great to other people, and I can't say enough. Cool. So Kerry Nordstrand, he owns a restaurant now, by the way, too. And if you're ever in his area, you should go to his restaurant. I
Ramen
don't know what it's
song.
called. I'd love to plug it for him, but
It's called Ramen Song.
have you been, Steve?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Al Kim,
Awesome.
Al Kim, Chef Al Kim. Shout out to Al Kim and Carrie Nordstrand. Yeah. It's really good.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
Well, Tony, I guess next time we're in
oh,
California after Amori Tacos.
We love Amori tacos. Now,
okay.
we
It's
have,
tradition
to,
at this
we have to
point.
talk about that for a second.
wait a minute. Italian? Is this Italian taco?
No, no. Howard, okay, go ahead, Tony. Because Howard is my SoCal boy. He knows.
Okay, so Howard's probably going to make fun of us too. John and I were like, we picked up, we would always fly into Nam together. I always have a car. We get in the car and we just start heading south. I have this thing where I don't eat before flights or anything like that. I go on with an empty stomach. I pass out, and we're both kind of hungry. We're like randomly driving. I'm like, what do you say we find a taco place right now? So John goes, and I'm driving. He's like, Amori Tacos in Cerritos. So we went there, and it was awesome. I mean, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And now we liked it so much, and then we went again on the trip home. At least I did.
Take people there now, and
We meet people there. Then I'm like, Steve, let's go to Amori Tacos. My snobby Orange County boy, he's like,
right.
why are we going to Cerritos? Why are we going there?
Okay. I live in Southern California. Why in the fuck would I go to Cerritos to get tacos when there's tacos everywhere? But again, it's you got
Oh,
it's
yeah.
tradition and it's fantastic. But there's so many. I mean, there's so
Okay,
many.
so I might be from Boston. And before you laugh, thank you, Howard, for not laughing.
But I'm
right?
sorry. I apologize for being. I was an asshole. I was very snobbish. I really was. I wholeheartedly admit it. I apologize.
I get it. I get it, Steve.
I've eaten all over, and I've spent a lot of time in California, worked in the surf industry out there. It's not like I'm just out there for music, and I've been up and down the coast. Stop it, Steve. And that place is fit. It's my
It's
personal
really good.
favorite. Yeah, it is my personal favorite on the West Coast, even if it's in a town you don't want to go to, Steve.
Nothing wrong with Cerritos.
No. But I get it. I live in Nashville now, and Mexican food in Nashville is not like California.
Really?
To be diplomatic,
I think I'm a little lucky. I mean, Kalamazoo, you wouldn't think of anything, but we do actually have a pretty decent Hispanic population.
Okay.
So we do have, it's not a lot, but we've got like one or two like legit authentic Mexican stuff, not the Tex-Mex things, and not, the commercial Mexican stuff. It's like we got a place called El Gallo Blanco where, you walk in and it's like the regular tacos are, corn tortilla and it's just cilantro and stuff. And it's amazing.
Well, Amori Taco, it's a good place. It really is good.
I gotta go. I must go next time I'm in town.
Next time you come out, we're all going to Amori Tacos.
So, John, you've been to this place?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, several times.
Yep.
John's the one who found
It's
it.
up to your place back home?
I would say it's pretty on par. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's decent and it's off, it's more authentic. It's not, the thing that everybody expects. Like when you get a taco, you get like all the stuff on it. It's like, no, it's not that. And they have flan.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
I'm just busting balls, man. I'm sorry. It's busting chops.
I mean, I get it. SoCal, the Mexican food there is unbelievable.
Yeah. And
Unbelievable.
And honestly, it's almost like a territorialism. Territorialism? Huh? When you find a spot, a joint that you like, like for me, it's Baja Fish Taco. That's not Baja Fresh, Baja Fish. That to me is the best. That's
What
it.
town, Steve? What town?
They started off of South Coast Plaza, so it's like South Santa Ana, and then they have 5 locations. And I know the owner, same owner, and it's just
That's a former Wahoo's employee.
no, I don't think so. No. Yeah, and it's just fantastic, and it's just that to me is my That's my place, which I need to take you guys to next time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in Cerritos, but it's in Southern California. So, you know. So anyway, so all right, pickups. Let's ask some pickup questions, guys. Let's talk.
I want to know, Howard,
There you
what
go.
do you feel that what pickup that is your brand that feels like defines you and your brand the most? Like what sets your pickup apart from, say, anybody else's, from like Seymour or Carrie's or anybody's?
That's a tough question. That's a tough question because this is going to sound terrible. It's going to sound terrible. What sets my pickups apart from everybody else's is that I make my pickups primarily for me, and it's me making them. You know, pickups are real simple. It's just wire and magnets, you know. And what sets my pickups apart is actually not really the making of them. It's the testing that has gone into what I've done.
Cool.
Every pickup I make, bass pickup at least, you know, I put in my bass, I take to the gig, and if it works great on my gig for me, I know it's a great pickup. You know, and I spent all my life before making pickups chasing a sound, and I wasn't able to really get close to that until I was able to start making my own pickups. I know that answer sounds kind of vague,
No.
but you know, I can't really say, well, I use the special wire that nobody else has, and the magnets that I have are, you know, there's nothing really special about the ingredients. It's just the way that I mix everything together.
Right.
I guess what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of subtleties. I've discovered there's a lot of subtleties in pickup making, and I think I found a few of them, what some of those subtleties are, those little things that you can do to make the pickup do what you want it to do. And, you know, that's what I've come upon, and I've been able to really test and refine what I've done and what I'm doing now to basically make me happy.
So you offer to the public what works for you.
Yes.
And you've got an extensive gigging history, you know. So
I mean, I got to tell you, I've known Howard just in this group the longest. Just, you know, he lived down here in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
We gigged parallel bands. We know all of everybody. I mean, I've known Howard since probably the early 90s, I think.
Yeah.
And Howard is one of the baddest bass players. I mean, I
don't know about that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'll say it. He's just he's a badass. He's ridiculously good and gigs. And I think that right there is really, I mean, if you talk manufacturers, pickup, whatever, you're one of the few that's actually out there gigging and playing what you're making and actually testing it. And you're really effing good. You know the sound. You know how to play. You know how to make an instrument sound good or bad. You know what I mean? Like you're that good. I'm just, you know, I'm not blowing smoke, but that's one of the reasons that Howard was the only person that I would take any basses to get worked on, because I've never believed in taking any instruments to somebody that doesn't play and doesn't know the instrument.
It's the same thing. It's another SoCal reference. It's like the best shapers in the surfboard industry are the guys who can surf their ass off.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And
Howard
Howard
no substitute for that experience.
So I think that sets you apart. I mean, you know, another person that comes quickly to mind is Pat Wilkins. I mean, he's not gigging as much, but that dude gigs, man. He's out there playing his stuff, and it's like, I mean, his stuff is fantastic, and it's road tested. So not to hijack, but I just didn't, you know, for people out there, you know, just know that Howard is one of the baddest bass players. He's a badass. He's ridiculous.
And, you know, if I can add too, Steve.
Yes, yeah.
It takes a lot of balls to build something and then test it yourself on the gig. You know? Obviously, you're not, you know, if it's not working in your shop, you're not going to be like, oh, well, maybe it'll work tonight at the show. You know, you're making, you know, you get it to that point where it's like, okay, I think this is move on to the next stage. But I mean, it takes a lot of balls to take what you were working on and go to and gig out in a real world environment.
Yeah.
There's no substitute for that. There just isn't.
I think it's
Go ahead.
that cumulative 10,000 hours. I mean, you've got the 10,000 hours and then some from just gigging to repairing to knowing electronics to, I mean, dude, you're an electronics whiz too. Like I know, yeah. So you know, you've got this large just basis, like foundation, I should say. You have a huge foundation where I think this is just, where it's supposed to go. This is what you're supposed to be doing, and this is a culmination of all those, years, I guess. So yeah, they're killer. I mean, I love the pickups. So
Well, I appreciate it. I just hope that it's just that my hope that what I like and what works for me will work for somebody else.
oh yeah,
Right.
I know I sound a little selfish, but really that's the honest truth.
Some of my favorite effect pedals came out the exact same way. Like the Creation Audio Funkulator. All it is it's a mid scoop. That's all it is. But the guy who helped build it was just one of those. This is the frequency I liked, and so and it works amazingly well. And so many people will complain that, oh, well, all it is just a one mid. You could use an EQ for that and stuff. But it's like, but at the same point, it was road tested. That's all you need.
Yes.
Why put everything else in there if it just sounds good, does its job? You don't need anything else.
There's a lot to be said for that. It's something that's very simple. And I always tell people too, if what I make doesn't work for you, that's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to. If what I do is not for you, there are other pickup makers for you. And
Right.
I'm not gonna bash anybody else, because what everybody does is valid. It's just different.
yeah.
Well, Pat's using your stuff all the time, right? Like Pat's, I think that's his main pickup, isn't it?
Good. Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
I remember that. Heck yeah,
I mean,
man.
and Pat's pedigree dates back to what? Is it the 70s with Schecter?
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
yeah. He was
That's
early
something to be said about that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He must have
That's
heard
the real
it
deal.
all. Yeah. So
And so who are you? We know you do Wilkins. What other companies are you building for now?
Pat Wilkins. I've been doing stuff for Brian Barrett of the Low End,
Yeah.
Low
Yep.
End Bass. And Brian, just by the way, is 4 doors down from me, so I
Oh, that's
see-
rad.
get to play a lot of weird basses over
Which
there. 'Cause
I'm very jealous of, because you get to cherry pick the best stuff that comes in. And I'm on that used bass site like 3 times a day. Just saying. I'm very jealous. Okay, continue. Sorry. Low end.
Chris Benevente, who's
yeah?
in Oregon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've been doing a lot of Rickenbacker style pickups for Dale Fortune, who's a builder out of Aloha, Oregon. And he's one of those guys that if you have a 60s Rickenbacker to be restored or rebuilt, he's like one of the few guys in the country that can really do an authentic,
Oh, nice.
true form Rickenbacker restoration. Gosh, I'm trying to. I just did a couple sets of pickups for Hero Exotic, the guy who owns Exotic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
There's a company out here called Bluesman Vintage. I've been making some pickups for them recently.
Real familiar with them.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm trying to think of who else. I get put on the spot, and
Well, I know
Right.
is you kind of did some stuff, maybe Victor Wooten?
I've made a set of pickups for Victor Wooten,
Yeah.
and I met with him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I love the pickups."
Cool.
And I've talked to him a few times about him, and he seemed to really like them. It's not in his main bass,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but it's one of those. He said it's one of those flavors that he likes to have in the stable. It's there when he needs it.
Fair.
Kind of more vintagey, modern-y vintage sound.
Mhm.
I don't know, Steve, help me. I'm drowning here.
No. I mean, dude.
oh, you're not drowning at all. That's
Not
that's
at all.
pretty good pedigree. You've got people using your stuff.
Right. And it's not like you don't have mass production stuff there, which, I mean, it would be nice, but I mean, the people you have are very,
Yeah.
Pat Wilkins, Brian Barrett, those are, very reputable people. Like, their names carry a lot of weight. So to have those guys using your stuff, that's a big deal.
I think Brian's probably got one of the best 34-inch scale 5-string J basses out there. And it's funny, Howard. I'm a guy that
has.
I prefer 35. I'm a 35.
I know,
Okay.
but Steve's low end is amazing.
Probably the best 34-inch scale jazz I've ever played in my life. And it has your pickup in it.
Brian makes a killer bass. Killer.
He does something kind of different. The pickups are a little scooched back. Just a little.
this is one of my uber home run basses, and these guys know, and that's the low end, and it has probably, Howard, my favorite pickups of yours are the Tic Tac pickups. If you can see,
Are those single coils?
yeah, they're single coil. Tic Tac.
Awesome.
Yeah, and the boys
That's that larger magnet.
Yeah, so that's the low end.
That bass slays.
It is.
Yeah, it's a
It's a good one.
standout for sure. It's crazy, and the pickups again make it. I mean, it makes it. And then so the Tic Tac thing, what sets those apart, and what makes those different, and why?
Well, it's a slightly larger magnet,
Okay.
and my idea for it was like, here's a P-bass pickup, and you can see how the magnets are. They're two magnets per string.
Mhm.
Right.
And I was just laying awake one night, and I thought of, well, what if this part here was all filled in with magnet? So I called my supplier, and basically they made these magnets for me. They're kind of expensive, but
Wow.
can you guys see
Yeah.
that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you can see it great.
Awesome.
Very
Hold on,
well.
Let me see if
Tony, you're a little out of focus. I don't know why. Let's see.
His computer's been drinking.
Oh.
I know, huh?
They're doing plumbing like I have yesterday.
Oh, there's the
So
magnet.
that's what the magnet looks like. So it's just
Okay.
like basically big. It's like a big chunk of. It's like it's a chunk of magnet.
Alnico 5, right?
It's an Alnico 5,
Mhm.
and it's the same height as like a regular jazz bass.
Oh.
0.783 inches.
Mhm.
And basically, it just kind of gives you a larger magnetic field. And because there's magnet under the string and on the sides, it kind of gives me. My impression is that it kind of gives you this. It's like a jazz bass pickup, and it's like a tele bass pickup because there's magnet under the string. You get this extra punch to your sound. But then because there's magnetic pull on the sides, it still has that jazz bass sweetness kind of sound as well.
Even if the string is going side to side, it's covered by the magnet.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
there's not any, I guess, blind spot for the string with that pickup.
Yes. And it's a flavor thing. Something like a jazz bass pickup with two poles. Sometimes I like this. It just depends. The traditional 2-pole sound is pretty awesome. Growing up playing an old jazz bass, I do sometimes go back to that sound. But having this more, I say it's like a good mix of vintage and modern. And the modern part of it is that it's got a lot more punch than a 2-pole per string kind of magnet. So it's kind of a unique thing. And also, I like the way it looks.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
With everything in design, there's always the visual aspect to these things. You want things to look right, and you want them to look different, but not too different and interesting. I think when you come up with something like that, it's eye-grabbing enough to where you're going to be like, "Ooh, what is that? I want to know what that is."
Mhm.
But it's not so weird. You're like, "Oh, I don't think that's going to work. That's just too.
Right.
That's too strange. I don't want." It's got to ride that line. And I think this does that.
Well, I think that's too because of how the magnets sit. The strings kind of mask some of that a little bit too. So somebody wouldn't immediately look and say, oh man, what are they using?
Yeah.
Just a quick look. They just think it's a regular pickup until they look a little bit more and they're like, oh wait, no, that's not a regular pickup.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
A question about that then, Howard. Because of that design, does that allow someone to play with string spacing a little bit? Like, can they go a little narrower or wider?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. You have quite a bit more leeway in terms of spacing the strings out. That said, when somebody comes to me for a set of pickups, I ask them what their string spacing is, and I can tailor their pickups to their string spacing so that the string rests atop right,
Oh,
as
cool.
close to the center of the magnet as possible. It doesn't really matter. The string can be pretty far to one side before you can really hear a difference. But, aesthetically, we like to see the string go right through the middle.
Right.
So on a 4-string, you could probably go 17 and a half to like 19 and a half.
I've gone up to as far as 20. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's some crazy builders out there with 20 mil spacing. Woo!
Steve, sorry, I don't know why I'm a little out of focus, but I'll fix it up afterwards.
Yeah, it'll come back.
It's like you're in a Woody Allen movie, Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
1974. Yeah.
Little matte finish. Your little matte finish there. And then as far as, so Alnico 5 is what you go for. That's kind of your mainstay with the magnets, right?
Yep.
Bar wire. I mean, you're keeping it traditional, or what are you using just to get super geeky kind of?
I'm just using the AWG 42 wire with the it's not form bar. It's just the, gosh, what is it called? I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a I can't remember what it's called, but it's just
Standard.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's this. Can you see that?
It's that stuff. Yes.
It's that.
43 NEMA
43.
W80C. Exactly.
Yes.
Oh, it's purty.
It's
Now,
shiny.
just so you know, the copper in my wire,
Yeah.
it's as old as the earth. That's what sets my apart. That's what sets me apart.
That's
That's it right
Copper
there.
is as old as the earth.
Does Gandalf come and drop that shit off later on, or what the hell?
Yeah, he comes in riding a stork. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome, man.
It's real geeky stuff.
Yeah.
That's actually 43 wire,
Okay.
which I do use for some stuff. That's a little bit of a thinner gauge. Most of my pickups are 42, and which is what most Fender pickups were made with. And I think Nordstrand uses that a lot, and Seymour Duncan, you'll find that mainly.
Now, do you also do then, I guess, some vintage correct kind of things as well, like just some more standardized stuff, or do you kind of shy away from something like that, given that everybody else has like a 60s P bass pickup? Or
I actually do some vintage, what I would consider vintage correct. I just recently, last about 2 months ago, I went on this kick with Brian down the street because he had a 65 P bass and a 58 P bass.
ooh.
So I was able to, I had these basses at my disposal. I could just drive down 4 doors and hear these basses. I could bring pickups that I was making and compare them to see if what I was doing was, sound-wise close to what he had. And I was able to take those basses apart, take measurements, readings from the magnets and from the wire and the impedance of the coils. And I came up with a couple of pickups that are actually pretty darn close to what I would call 60s and 50s. I'll never say they're exact.
Sure.
If you want the real thing, you need to go buy the real thing. But if you want something that's going to be vintage sounding and probably make you real happy, I've got something for you.
How different were the 50s to the 60s?
Well, Brian's 58 P bass had more mid-range.
Oh, wow.
And the 65 actually had more lows. It was thumpier. It was more like a Jamerson sound. And the 58 was more of like a mid-rangey punk rock kind of sound.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's kind of interesting.
Oh.
Also, the 50s one had those staggered poles where the two of the poles on one of the strings, I think it was the D string, was like super close to the string, and the rest of the poles were far away,
So weird.
which drove me crazy.
Mhm.
And actually, John, maybe you could explain this because you're a string guy. It was explained to me that back in the 50s, string manufacturing was not what it was today, and certain gauges of strings didn't pick up as well.
Right.
And that's why Fender was doing these staggered poles.
Yeah, and I think that's what they did too with making the D and the A strings bigger, with more mass, so that those poles would actually pick them up better too. which is how we got, which is, as I understand it, how we got like the 45, 65, 85, 105 kind of thing.
Okay.
For that. Whereas like if you actually have something that's more balanced and plays better, it's more 45, 60, 80, 105.
Is that because of the radius? The radius was a lot curved, like 7.5, right? Is that why? Because the neck
I
radius?
think that had something to do with it too. Probably because the string's over it, and if the
higher.
pickups just sat like this on a radius, you know, the D and the A string are going to have less, so they made more mass, and then they tried to go like this, and then they raised those pole pieces a bit too.
Okay.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What about the 70s pickups, Howard, with the different wire? Do you do that at all by chance?
Those pickups were wound with plain enamel wire, which is the black wire.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I can wind you something with that. I can. Yeah. But really, I don't see much difference between the 60s pickups and the 70s in terms of construction. There's not like it's not like a hugely different pickup. Even like jazz bass pickups. I get guys saying like, "Can you make me a 70s jazz bass set?" And I think a lot of guys are confused because in the 70s they moved the position of one of the pickups.
Right.
They moved the pickup back. And I think a lot of guys don't realize that. Maybe they equate it to, oh, well, the pickups must be different. They must have changed the pickups somehow.
I think the spacing makes way bigger difference. Like
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Because really, when you dig in and look at the pickups themselves, there's not much difference between 60s and 70s pickup. There really isn't. Like I said, it's just magnets and wire. Not much else going on in there.
Interesting. And so, model-wise, is there anything that you're concentrating on, the tic-tac, or just kind of depends on orders, or what's your main thing you're building right now?
Well, it just depends on what I'm getting orders for. And it's funny, when it rains, it pours. Like last week was all jazz-based pickups, hum-canceling jazz-based pickups. And then this coming next week, it's going to be all Music Man style pickups.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
You know, Stingray. I don't think I have anything here, but yeah, like I got these. I make these Stingray pickups where one coil is a jazz bass, the other coil is like a Music Man coil. You know, the big giant poles, and then
I have seen that.
They're cool.
I've been getting a lot of I get a lot of interest in that, and I encourage guys to wire them up with 2 volume controls, so you can separate the coils and kind of get different sounds and things.
Oh,
like that.
That's cool.
Crazy.
Kind of a fun thing. I wish I had one here to show you guys.
Do you still have that old Stingray, Howard?
No, I sold that. I sold it.
You know, Steve, I actually had, I think it was either a 76 or a 77 Stingray.
Oh, nice.
Well,
76?
I think.
Did it have plastic knobs?
I think so.
I would have 76.
Yeah. It didn't have, somebody took the pick guard off, but there was just a gouge along the E string, right where you see the guy's hat. You know, his thumb was, I mean, I thought it was cool. It was a natural finish.
Nice.
Played like hell, but it still was great. But I had it at a time, I guess, 2 things. One, I didn't fully realize what I had.
Yeah.
And second, I don't think I really knew enough to be able to coax the sound that I needed out of it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're a weird beast. I went through a love-hate relationship with Stingrays. I think I had 7 of them at one time. Before I inked my deal with Lull, I had 7 of them, and one of them was I think it was the first year 5-string for the Stingrays. So it was 89.
Okay.
Actually, it was a lot of fun. I loved it live. I love them live. I hate them recorded.
Yeah.
I think punchy as everything live, but on tape, I'm like, oh, that's just me.
My gripe with it with my 78 Stingray was that it just had no mid range. It was really scooped, a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and I just couldn't hear myself.
And that
unless I was the loudest guy in the band.
Yeah.
And that's what actually got me onto making these Stingray pickups, because I wanted to make something that's going to have more mid range, something that's going to just sound a little bit more balanced through the highs, mids, and lows.
Well, those early Stingrays only had a 2-band preamp also. It wasn't 3. The 3-band was later on. So, and it was,
Right.
Correct.
and I think it was Leo Fender's thing where it was just cut only or one of the two or some
Boost only.
boost.
Boost only. Yeah.
Okay.
Two-band
Yep.
boost only.
Whereas his other G&Ls were cut only. So that was boost only on the Stingray.
Yeah.
That Leo.
Mm,
I mean, God, we you have to give everything to Leo, because without him,
Yeah.
I don't think we'd be sitting here talking.
We
But
wouldn't
I
have
think-
this conversation. Yeah.
But I think in those later years of his life, his hearing might have not been so great, and his high end was not so attuned as it once was. As we all get older, our
Mhm.
high frequencies go, and
Sure.
I think that's how that bass got so bright.
That's interesting. Huh. Well, even on the L2500s, the treble's pretty, like, it can get shrilly, especially on that preamp.
Is that right?
High end, it's like, whoa. Yeah,
yeah.
but it is tameable at least, and usable, so,
Right.
which is good.
And you know what's funny, in the L2500, I think it's weird. I don't think it's highs. I think it's like upper mids.
Yeah, probably.
And like the lows are like the lower mids,
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's true lows or true highs. So it's almost pokier,
Yeah.
I like those preamps better because usually I never touch the treble on something, but if it's something like upper mids
Mhm.
or low treble, I'll do it because then you can it's more of sculpting the sheen on your bass more than anything else.
Got it. Interesting.
I do play with treble. I do cut it a little bit.
Mm.
But that's, depending. I mean, I play bright basses.
Speaking of that then, Howard, with your pickups, are that like if somebody wanted to run an active preamp, is there a preamp that you feel plays well or plays the best with the stuff you offer?
I myself am a passive bass guy. I don't know a lot of preamps. That said, I like Sadowski's preamp.
Okay.
I like the Brian Barrett preamp. And they're all for different reasons. Like I like the Aguilar preamp, but the Aguilar preamp is a pretty extreme preamp. You turn any knob on that and you
It's
get a lot.
powerful. Yeah. Little movements have very big consequences.
Yes.
Not
Brian's
subtle.
preamp is like the gospel preamp. If you're into that kind of gospel sound, I would suggest that.
Mhm.
I like your pickups with Kerry's preamp.
Kerry makes a killer preamp.
I like it.
You get more of the sound of the pickups than the preamp.
Yeah.
With his preamp, he's more understated.
Mhm.
It's just, I mean, I hate to sound vague, but it's just one of those things you got to kind of try a few of them.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's hard to do that. You have to kind of commit to installing it into your bass, and
Right. Sure.
But so I try to leave that up to the users to whatever they want to use. I mean, I try to help. Honestly, I don't know much about preamps. I wish I did.
Well, the nice thing is that your pickups will work with anything. They just have to try it.
That's right. That's right.
I had good results with your pickups in a Bartolini preamp.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Nice. Awesome.
I think, yeah. Oh,
But just a little heads up, that's wired in series.
What?
It's wired in series. No pan pot.
Oh,
Awesome.
Yeah. But that's just me. I'm a little weird that way.
that's cool.
So you wire both jazz bass pickups to one volume control.
That's correct.
That is so rock and roll.
It's freaking rad.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Am I allowed to swear on this thing?
I think you just did.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I did.
Sometimes I can't help it.
I can't either. So
I do the Lee Sklar trick that I read about years ago about taking two. Yeah, that's exactly it. Go into everything.
that
No,
the Lee Sklar thing.
no, I think it was on Euphonic Audio's website. They had an interview with Lee. They asked about best recording tone, and he said what he does is like on a 2 pickup instrument, he'll favor the bridge pickup ever so slightly because
Okay.
it's enough that it takes the boominess or the big low end out of the neck pickup just enough, and it just takes it and pulls it in just a little bit.
Yeah.
That was probably back when he was using that old P bass with the 2 P bass pickups in there.
Double P.
Right.
The two EMGs. I think there were two EMGs in there. That was weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He kind of took the Jocko concept and didn't go as far with the bridge pickup, maybe, like
Right.
had a little bit more body and more of this.
I find myself still doing it though, even like on the Hilton. That's what I do all the time, and it drives Pete nuts because he'll hear me play. He's like, it sounds good, and then he's like, why is your neck pickup pulled back so much? Turn it up. I'm like, no, that's where the sound is.
That's your tone.
I do a little trick instead. That's the Avanti pickup positioning. So instead of, like, say where the jazz bass is, it's, bridge and neck, the neck is pulled back about an inch. And then with both pickups going, because they're wired, to the same volume knob, it kind of removes a little bit of that boominess and adds a little more lower mids.
So the actual positioning of the pickup is closer to the bridge.
Closer to the bridge.
Both of them,
Yeah, I could show you.
Yeah, show me. It's almost the Ken Smith kind of thing, where and the L2500 or M2500, where the bridge pickup and the neck pickup are a little further or a little closer to the bridge. Look at Tony's rack of basses.
Now,
I like it.
I love it.
I finally put all my stuff back.
Did you?
I did, because I had everything in my living room for that live feed. Then I shut the curtains.
I got a ceiling here. Hold on, I got a low ceiling. A New England basement.
Oh, there we go.
It's got a reflection of Steve.
Oh, there I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. Okay, yeah.
And those are big
Well, it's
singles.
pulled back a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Pulled back just a touch. And to me, it reminds me of I described this the other day, so I'm sorry guys if I'm beating a dead horse here, but
bring it on.
it's like John,
Wait.
You mean that's every band I've ever been in?
Right.
it's like, to me, it's like a jazz bass and a Music Man had a baby.
Okay.
And gave it steroids type of thing, It's like, if you look at it like this, it's like where a Music Man pickup, to see where it would be, like a
Can you
Sting
raise it up a little bit?
There we go.
There you go.
If you took a Music Man pickup and separated it in two,
Yep.
gave it each a huge single coil, that would be it.
Yeah. That's cool. That bass sounds great.
I love
Are
it.
you guys? Do you guys remember that Warwick thumb bass?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Remember how it had those two
Yes.
jazz bass pickups kind of close to the?
and the one off center too. There was one offset, right? The neck one was offset, and then it was closer.
Mhm.
They had a couple weird ones where they'd have one like this, or they'd have both of them like this, or you even
Tighter
had,
on the low end. I think it was tighter in the low end.
Yep.
I think it was pulled back towards the bridge and in the lower strings.
I still, one of the unicorn basses, I have a couple of them, but an old Warwick thumb bass with a Justin Nut.
Oh, yeah.
the Justin Nut one.
The Justin Nut one. Yes.
That one was the best.
It's the
Howard,
best.
we talked about this a lot. Do you have a unicorn bass? Something weird or odd that you kind of wish you had in your stable?
Oh, I have to think about that for a minute.
Dude, we share one, Howard. Cylinder. You already have one.
I have one.
I know. Yeah, you already have one. I don't.
I have one.
So I'm very
I
jealous of.
can't believe I got lucky. Chris Beneventi had it and he gave me a great deal on it. I don't know how I got it away from him.
You have a friend visiting, John.
Oh,
I do.
I love
This is Minerva.
Russian blues are rad, dude. She's a Russian, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got enough characteristics of it.
Yeah.
I just bought my unicorn bass. You guys can make fun of me.
Oh,
Oh,
let's
you
see. Let's see. Wait, what is it? What's your unicorn bass? What's
You
your
didn't see the you guys, this
Hold
is
on.
almost embarrassing. The PC Rich Eagle.
oh
There's
yes.
nothing wrong with that.
That's awesome. That's
It's
right.
pretty rad.
That's freaking rad, dude. Are you kidding me?
I bought a cheap and not like the neck through.
Yep, that's
That's the one I bought.
wow. That's
Like the
rad.
cheap imports. And I'm gonna do it up like a late '70s one. I'm gonna throw probably Damasio Model 1 P pickups in there.
Nice.
And
Awesome.
a shallow bridge, you know, get rid of that cheap bridge.
Yeah.
Throw a good bridge on there.
Had that impossible preamp with 100 knobs and switches on it.
That I'm not going to do with all the phase switches and all that other stuff. Like, I'm probably going to leave it passive.
That's rad. I'm a fan of double Ps, man.
Me too.
Hmm?
I like them.
Yeah, I'm a double P guy.
Yeah, that GNL Matador is the bomb. It's good.
You haven't talked about it a lot lately, Steve, but you're getting so many other cool GNLs. It's understandable.
So dumb. And I still want other bases. Just stupid. I ping Howard. I'm like, I seriously, it's so dumb. Oh man, I'm gonna say we all have issues just to make myself feel better.
Wait a second. John's the worst offender.
What?
I don't
Maybe
know.
not compared to Howard. I don't know what Howard has, but
Oh,
we know John has more than either Steve or I.
Well, that's true, but I even sold a bunch. So, I mean, I'm down to 19.
nice.
Mid-teens. I'm in the mid-teens.
I'm up there. I know Howard's up there too.
I'm about 50.
Yeah. See?
Whoa! I love. Woo!
I just had a bunch, and you'd probably understand this, Howard. Like, you know, and I'm sure for you, you can justify it with, well, the what I'm making for this is, you know, a very specific part of the instrument. So having different instruments helps me do my job better.
True.
A lot of my instruments are test instruments. Most of
Yeah,
them.
same. But I ended up, I think when I started selling some stuff down, it's like, I've got 4 P bases. Why?
Because it's awesome.
I mean, it
Yeah.
was.
All right, so let me rephrase this, Howard. For your gigging, what's in your active gigging stable then?
All right.
Sadowski Satin Series 4-string.
It's nice.
Really?
Yeah, that's all. That's my main bass.
Wow.
You have
That's
three.
all I really play.
You have 3
I
now.
have 3. I have a 5-string, and then I have an older one from 1988 that I can't play because as I'm getting older, not only do I not hear as well, my eyesight is going. I can't see the dots without my glasses.
Mm.
Guys, it's the Remember Bass Player magazine, the SWR ad. It's that Sadowski.
Oh, no kidding.
Is that the natural? Was it a natural one?
Yes.
Yeah.
With SWR.
I can't
on
believe
the
I
headset. We all
remember
know it.
that.
Oh, dude, we all know it. You kidding me?
Jeez.
Yeah, that's.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say that I still pine for a SWR stack.
I know.
I mean, it's too heavy now, but man, if I could show up to a gig with a Henry to 8 cab just to blow some air behind some people, that would be awesome.
You know what? I think it's the deep, innate need or want to be Marcus Miller. For
Yeah.
me. I mean, how he's the reason, man. The SWR, I was like, oh my gosh, you know, with 410 SM400. That's Marcus to me. That's it. That will forever be Marcus.
You know, it's this quarantine thing that made me say, you know what? I'm just going to spend the money and buy this BC Rich. I'm just going to do it and hot rod it. Who cares? Why not do it, right?
Yeah.
My old first teacher had one, and Dave Buddha, who works at the Boston Symphony now, and he had one when I was really young as a teenager, and I'm like, screw it. I want it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Good for you.
The other thing is I lost on the buying of one. I didn't know about it till afterwards. There was this donation to Juan, you know, because he's going on. So, and Jeff Martin, his old singer from Racer Rex, had one that he sold recently, took the money to give it to Juan Eldreddy. And I'm like, crap, I would have bought that in a heartbeat. So it just kind of fueled the fire. I'm like, I want one now. Yeah.
How is there any update on one? Anybody know anything?
Doing better.
Good.
He's
glad to
doing
hear
a lot better. He's doing a lot better. At what exact stage? That was from a week ago, so I don't know where he's at right now.
Okay.
I know he's complaining that he wants sushi.
That's a good sign.
That's a great sign. Yeah,
Yeah. If you're ornery and cranky, that's great. That means you're heading in that right direction.
absolutely.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. And on your Sadowski thing, it is kind of one of those things, since Roger isn't going to be building anymore, that they're probably going to be more sought after, those older ones, or ones that were his era, pre-Warwick era.
Pre-Warwick Sadowski's, I guess. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Sadowski and Warwick and.
Speaking of that too, is the same thing with Ken Smith and Brubaker.
Yeah. Yep. Ken Smith.
What happened?
Kevin.
Brubaker's handling all the heavy lifting for everything. As I understand it, when it was announced in the fall, Ken still picks the woods, like he always did, but then Brubaker puts everything together, and then Ken does the final assemble or like once over, and I think puts the serial number on it. Wow. If I understand this.
Kevin's a badass builder, man. He's a badass builder, Kevin.
Is he?
Kevin's good. He's very good. I like Kevin.
He's one of the guys that I have heard the name, but I have yet to ever find an instrument in the wild that I could touch.
Oh, wait, you never met him?
Mm-mm.
At NAMM or anything like that?
No. Actually, I should have, because he had the booth with Ken Smith, which was next to Devin at NAMM this year. And I stopped by Devin's booth a couple of times.
Kevin's a good guy. And that's probably why I didn't go in the booth if I saw Smith in there.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. Howard, Tony, Tony and Ken Smith. No, yeah. It happens. It's one of those things.
If it makes you feel better, Tony, Ken doesn't go to the shows anymore.
Oh, there you go.
Last I checked, I think his son John was at the booth. And John's a cool guy. I've met him once or twice.
Maybe he's cool. His dad's not.
There you go.
That's all I got to say.
Boom, there you go. But so I do, back to the low end, Brian's shop. I literally am on the used site at least 4 or 5 times a day, and I'm pinging Howard.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Howard, how's this bass? How's this bass? Hey, can you check this bass out? So
I think Brian's got one of the coolest bass shops around.
Oh, Brian's, yeah. And he is one of the most knowledgeable in terms of just instruments, like the world of instruments. He knows his shit so well, man. He really does.
Yeah.
Smart dude.
He really does.
And built a badass instrument.
Yeah.
Him and Chris. So.
Nice guy, straight up guy.
Yeah.
Good straight up guy. Yeah.
Also, Howard, I just did that review on the Devon with your humbucker Tic Tacs.
Oh, the red one.
Yeah, the red one. Awesome. But I think I'm going to have to get a set of humbucker Tic Tacs from you for a bass of mine.
Okay.
By the way.
Call me.
You know where to reach me.
Would it kill you to pick up a phone and push a couple buttons?
Hey, look.
Not in this day and age. We do Zoom or texting.
Giving you the.
Is this Zoom?
Okay, look. The thing that bugs me. Hold on. I'm gonna. This when Leland's got. He doesn't even flip off right. It's this. That's the correct way to flip someone off.
This is how I do it.
That's how you do it. This is how I do it. Tony, how do you flip someone off?
I tend not to.
John?
Good for you, Tony.
I mean, if I have to.
If you have to. Okay, so you're in the middle of that.
Yeah,
and that.
And it's funny because
I'm
the
from
index finger's
Boston,
out just
so
slightly. So
okay, I like it.
It's different to me. It's different.
Why is it different in Boston?
Yeah, what do they do in Boston?
And
Tony?
I apologize about saying New Jersey earlier. I was busting balls.
If I do it, I have to be upset. Like, Leland, for him, it's like a pleasurable thing. We are gnarly, aggressive, nasty people in the Northeast in general, right? We really are, all right?
So,
I mean, I'm born and raised here, even though, Steve, we have lots of similarities about the whole surf culture and all that stuff, and, like, the gigging culture, and we're on the same age and all that. But, like, we're people off. We're doing it because we're fucking pissed.
So okay,
right?
okay. So when you're pissed and ready to shoot someone or shank someone, how do you do it? Let me see. I want to see. We all want to see how you flip someone off. What is your finger? How do you position your fingers?
It's normally a quick thing, so I don't know how it would be.
So let's see.
I can't get mad. I'm laughing half the time right here.
Right.
I'm talking about bases. I'm drinking Klingon coffee. I'm sitting with my boys. I got a great pickup manufacturer right here. I can't get mad. I don't do that.
I don't think he wants to give up the secret handshake.
Dude, it's a secret
that's
handshake.
That's probably it.
That's what it is.
It is.
You have to kill
You guys
us.
have driven with me a lot when I'm in the West Coast, and you guys don't use your horn in the West Coast.
No. Oh, yeah, dude. You're gonna
That's
get
right.
I
Tony,
use my
Tony
horn
uses his horn.
every time I get in the car.
I'm like, what? Like, you're honking at everybody. You're gonna get shot. Like, someone's gonna shoot you out here. You don't honk at everybody. No. You're gonna get fight. You're gonna get somebody doing this to you and really meaning
I
it.
would love it and enjoy it, especially now when no one's on the road, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, Tony, is my dad uses his horn, but he does it to screw with people and to piss off my my stepmom, because he'll be driving, and if there's somebody down the road, he'll honk and then he'll go like this.
Oh my god.
Oh.
And then you see that person as they're walking going,
Yeah.
and
All
then
the
my
time.
stepmom just
All
looks
the
over and
time.
says, "Oh, David."
For me, that's all the time. You guys saw me out in the West
Oh,
Coast,
yeah.
keeping at people waving. They're like,
We were joining in. It was like the whole car.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. So, right on. Well, maybe we'll have to talk about that SWR Sadowski, Howard.
I'll have to get it out next time. I'll get it out. I'll do a
Yeah.
little show.
Because that's kind of a unicorn for me. Is it'd be kind of nice to have an older Sadowski.
Can I talk a little bit of a trick so you can gig that again? What I do. So I'll put the glow-in-the-dark nail polish
Oh
on
yeah,
the side,
Oh yeah.
out of the neck. Yeah.
little dot.
Then you can actually feel it too if you're running your hand. Like you can feel it, so you know.
Dude,
It's not, and you can get it off after the fact, right?
I just
If
do
you
a little dab.
Okay.
Like I'll do it, or the guy who does a lot of my repair work, he'll do it too.
how about
Okay.
lumen lay? Just put some lumen lay dots in it. Or
I don't want to drill into it. I don't want to modify it that
Yeah.
way. Anyway.
yeah.
I
kind
do
of
like
weird
the
that
dots. Go tut, 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 and it you can feel it, you can see it. It's nice.
It's actually a really cool idea, Tony.
That's
I
cool.
never thought of
I
that.
like it.
Do you have to like charge it up with a black light or anything like that, or?
I don't. I mean, I'm enough in the lights, and there's lights here all the time. But it hits it. The sunlight hits it, light here hits it. So, and then I go, yeah.
I have little.
And,
I have little.
it's just enough. But the glow in the dark, just the glow in the dark.
Yeah.
Boom, you can order online at Halloween. I can go to the CVS. I'll get a few bottles.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
It's
I'm
a,
gonna try that.
it's a good sound and bass, Howard. Is it good?
Great. Yeah. It's great. It's the kind of the sound I had been chasing as a youngster, in the early 90s, watching Dave Letterman and hearing Will Lee play.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the sound Marcus Miller got when he was with Miles Davis. And then remember that TV show that was on Sunday night with George Holland?
Dude, called Sunday nights. Yeah.
Sunday nights. Sometimes it was Tom Barney playing bass, and then sometimes it was Marcus Miller, Omar Hakim on drums.
Yeah.
Always just like,
Yeah.
what's that guy doing?
Yeah,
How's
Sunday night. Yeah, and then they changed the name to Night Music. We would record it and watch it, and VHS trade the tapes. Like Chili Peppers were on it, Miles was on it, Stevie Ray Vaughan was on it. Yeah,
What an
John
awesome
Thorne.
time period. Man,
Hiram-
what an awesome time.
yeah. Hiram Bullock was guitar. Philip
Ooh.
Sise on key.
Yep.
That was just remarkable.
Bootsy
A
Collins.
lot of those guys were the original Letterman band too.
Oh,
Hiram
yeah.
was the original guitar player.
Well, remember
That's
Marcus was part of the Saturday Night Live band for a little bit. It was Marcus, and it was that band. Like I think
Hiram Bullock.
wasn't it Hot Tub?
That was Hiram Bullock.
Yeah, in that Hot Tub, the Eddie Murphy Hot Tub.
Eddie Murphy.
That was those guys. Anyways,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And the fill-in guy for Will Lee all the time was, a guy that I look up to is Neil Jason.
oh okay.
Yeah, man, and he was played with Steely Dan a lot. He was with Steely Dan. He was one of the cats with Steely Dan.
Is
Wow.
who's the bass player on Saturday Night Live now? Is it Tom Barney? No,
No,
Federa.
I can't remember his name, but he uses my pickups.
Fantastic. He's great. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. So Howard, what any plans on new pickups? Anything new coming out, or just kind of have you been experimenting with things?
Not really. I haven't had any new ideas
Okay.
as of late.
Cool.
I haven't had really. I've been just kind of cruising with what I know. I'm waiting for the next idea to come to me because that's how it usually works.
Cool.
Somehow in the middle of the night, like, oh, why don't I make a Music Man pick up with two different coils? Or, So I'm just kind of waiting for the next idea to come along. I haven't quite figured out what that's going to be yet. I've been experimenting with Music Man quad coils and things like that. And I've been getting some good results with that. I haven't really, shown them to the world too much, but that's kind of one of the things. As far as guitar pickups go, I've been doing these Tele Pickups. I do these Tele Pickups, and it's the same kind of idea as a
oh, that's cool.
as a jazz bass coil. And
That's rad. Wow.
it's hard for me to explain. I don't play guitar, so I have to kind of rely on my peers for feedback. But so far, everyone that's played these has really liked these.
Wow.
It's it's got a good, nice, round, punchy sound, but it's also got a good amount of twang to them. So this has been an exciting thing for me. I wish I was a better guitar player so I could really dig into these more, but that's been something.
I like the aesthetics. It's like
it looks rad. The neck pickup looks hot.
Yeah, right?
I like those big fat pole pieces on that. It reminds me of like that older Schecter Monster Tone thing that they did back in the day. Yeah.
So that's been kind of my newest idea that I've been kind of pursuing. Let's see if there's anything else here.
Tony, on the vintage, I think you were asking about vintage. Howard, for me, and I think for a couple of people, he's actually like just through the years, he's rewound probably 2 or 3 60s pickups for me from basses, just an FYI. So I know that Howard, I was just telling him that you've rewound like I think 2 or 3 old jazz bass pickups.
I can do rewinds for you. I do that for people. I just rewound a 58 P bass pickup for a guy back home.
Well, and that gives you insight onto, as to what they were made like back in the day. So that, again, that acquired knowledge, which, But the Tic Tac humbucker, I think I'm going to have to get a set of those.
Call me.
All right.
Hey, so here's another question for Howard. What about other materials like, say, ceramic or neodymium? Have you thought about going in that area at all, or does it interest you? Is it not part of what you're doing? Or
I early on I was making pickups with neomagnet pickups. I had some here. I loved them when I played them at home, and I would take them to the gig, and I could never ever get them to sound the way I wanted them to sound. They just didn't work for me. There was not enough mid-range in them. There wasn't enough. They didn't cut through the mix in the way that I liked. Hello.
That's awesome.
So, and it was a real quick experiment. Like I got these pickups to the gig, and that gig ended, and I'm like, oh man, I'm never doing this shit again. Maybe I could have put more time into them, but being the guy that grew up on a '60s jazz bass, listening to Will Lee and Marcus Miller and Jocko and guys like Jeff Berlin, that's what I want. That's what I want to sound like. And why would I want to get that sound with something else when the materials are there right in front of me?
I think Steve had a similar experience with neodymium. He didn't like them.
It's kind of, I don't know, just not.
They sound awesome at home.
Yeah.
Awesome when you're at home playing by yourself. Woo.
Yeah.
Look out. But man, at the gig, it's just something's missing. At least with my pickups, I know there are guys out there that are having better results than I am with them. And maybe I should have put more time into it, but there's only so many hours in the day.
I think what you're doing is fantastic, dude. Just with what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with offering all this stuff and saying, you know what? I do this really, really well, and I like what I'm doing here.
That's the idea. I'm not a jack of all trades. I do some specific things, and I'm only trying to do specific things, and I just take it.
Cool. Nice. Right on, kids. Any other questions? Statements?
Steve, what's your next bass?
Oh shit! I'm having a fretless M2000 made by G&L, so
awesome.
That should be finished, and I'm always looking. Like I said, I'm looking for something else. I'd like a cylinder one day. We'll see.
Nice.
Yeah, but anyways, how about anybody else? Any other?
Don?
John.
Oh, you know what's coming up for me, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
What is
Let me
it?
see if I can pull it out.
You got pictures?
Yeah. Actually, I have a custom bass being built right now from a guy named Matt Kiefer out of Ann Arbor. Well, Ypsilanti.
Mhm.
You're the better mousetrap, right?
Better Mousetrap guitars. That's what we're working on right now.
Yeah. Damn.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Now, the interesting thing, what we're going to do on it, we're putting a Nordstrand Big Man pickup, I think in standard Music Man spot. All it's going to have on the top is just a switch for series and parallel.
Oh.
Beautiful.
That's it.
No volume?
What?
No volume control?
No volume. We've been talking about possibly, I think he's going to hide a volume in the control cavity because he still made the cavity as such. If it's one of those later on, we're like, maybe let's put a preamp or something else in it. But then we also talked about those, the internal trim pots that they'll put in effects pedals. The little, they're like a little square thing that has a screwdriver thing. We also thought about possibly drilling a hole or two in the back of the control cover.
Have a little screw. And
Mounting those so then it's all accessed through a screwdriver on the back.
Cool.
But, keeping it stupidly simple on there. So.
Nice.
When's it going to be done?
That's a good question. I don't know. Last I saw, he had the neck together. I'm not sure if he had a chance to put the wings on it or not yet.
Cool. Nice.
So.
How about Tony? What do you got incoming?
I've got 2 in the works. Well, don't laugh. Steve, you're always laughing at me.
I like it.
So, I've got a new TP. I mean, I have a signature model with Mike Lowe, but those guys are on hiatus right now. And so my TP5 is coming with them. It'll have an ash body and a roasted neck. That will have the Nordstrand big blades in it.
Beautiful.
And so, who knows, the neck's done. And I don't know if Pat has the body or not. I think Pat's doing the finish on it. That's going to be amber, or technically transparent orange, but it looks like amber to me. And we'll see if the big blades work. If not, I'll rip them out and put in big singles and Wireman series. But these are going to be big blades in parallel. And, of course, I'm going to have that little project at that BC Rich,
BC Rich. Woo!
That's nice.
That'll probably get I want to kind of keep it period. I want to keep it. I'm distinctively going to throw those old school cream DiMaggio model.
Oh, yeah.
You got to.
That looks right. Nice.
But I'm going to leave it passive,
Howard, you got anything incoming?
Not as of yet. No, I'm kind of in a lull right now. If you can believe it.
Well, you have 50 instruments.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of weird.
We got to give a big shout out to Charlie Sabatino, and he's becoming one of us. He actually had a gear question for me about necks. So he's the smart one in the group, Howard, where he doesn't really do gear, but we're rubbing off on him. So shout out to Charlie.
What's he have? 2 Lakelands and that's it?
Oh, yeah. You know what, Steve? You and I had a different, I think gave him different answers, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
I can't really speak on that. And maybe Howard would know more about this as well. Howard, do you know much about roasted necks at all?
I just know that I know the process is they take a piece of wood, and in this case, we'll say maple, and they put it in a heater, and they like heat the neck to a certain temperature in a vacuum. So there's no oxygen in this chamber, and they heat the neck up, and it's supposed to completely dry out the neck and crystallize the voids that were inside of the neck or something to that degree. It's supposed to make it harder, more brittle, and change the tone to make it a little brighter sounding, as I understand it.
So it is brighter. Okay, so all right, that agrees with Steve. I had one, was a Music Man, and I really couldn't tell the difference. But also, that neck was supposed to be stable. And I don't want to throw a dig at Music Man, but it wasn't stable actually at all.
It was
It happens.
less stable.
Spongy.
Yeah, and they used curly maple, which I know is not as stable as maple, but the roast was supposed to negate that process and make it stable. maybe I had one made on Friday. Who knows, right?
Ah.
But in a stable,
Yeah.
and I got rid of it. But so you did hear it was brighter. I've read some things online that said that it's opposite. It's warmer, but
I completely disagree. I've had 4.
yeah, so that makes sense. So Charlie, when you hear this, I'm sorry. My knowledge, I'm not.
And I've had 2, so between Steve and I.
Yeah.
I've had none, if it's any consolation.
So John, you thought it was brighter as well?
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say it's not a night and day thing, but it's definitely there.
I think where it starts coming night and day is when the body is roasted and the neck.
Oh yeah.
Then that shit loses. It's just this, and there's no kind of like the pickups that you were talking about, Howard. Sounded great at home, then you get to a gig and it's just like, where am I? I can't hear myself. It just loses that fundamental.
Did you find, Steve, too? It just from the ones I have,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if it's a finishing thing. Maybe from some of the process you can finish it better. But it seemed that the feel of those roasted necks was so much more satiny than any other instrument I've had.
Maybe I don't know. Might be just the finish, because at G&L we actually get the blocks and we cut them.
Okay.
Some other places actually get the necks already cut and finished.
Okay, so it's one of those things of you get the actual material, the block, whereas some people could make neck, send it out, then get it back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or they get it cut out and then they, big large company will do it and send out the necks and stuff already done. So yeah, and I know that we at G&L had to. There's different temperatures and different amounts of roasting, I guess.
Yep.
Like if you look at it like meat, like
You do the process there at G&L, Steve?
What's that?
You do that process at G&L?
No, we get the blocks of wood that are roasted. So we get the blocks and then we cut out whatever it is. Then we cut the stuff out, CNC, and then hand shape everything. So yeah, so we found a temp or a doneness that worked well, that wasn't too brittle and wasn't too
Right.
Because it does get brittle. The more that you cook it, it's going to get brittle and harder to work with.
I'm having mine gloss. This is it's not going to show up so well. Damn it.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. And it's gloss finish. Oh, beautiful.
Okay.
It's not for some reason. I don't know what's going on with my camera.
Yeah.
It's out of focus. But it's gloss. I glossed mine.
I will say, aesthetically, it looks gorgeous. I mean, the roasting process.
Oh yeah.
It brings out flaming, brings out quilt. I mean, it's just gorgeous. But I just couldn't sit well with it, man. And like John was saying too, it's just kind of, I don't know. It's just one of those things. But the SB2 that I have that has the roasted neck with the MFD pickups sounds fantastic. But that's a lot of the pickups, I think.
Right.
Pickups
Sure.
have a lot to do with that growl that makes up for it, and it's good. So, yeah. Anyways, there we go, man. All right, kids. Well, what else, man? We got anything else, or should we wrap this thing up? It was a good.
What's for dinner?
Yeah.
I'm going to do a little barbecue, I think. How about you, gents?
I
ate
did
already.
leftover tacos a little while ago, so.
I'm going to send some Amore tacos to you guys and flan.
Ooh, there you go.
I would love that.
Howard, what are you?
That.
Howard, what are you guys? What are you and the little lady eating?
Yeah, Howard, you're a foodie as well. I see your stuff. You're always into the food.
What do you
We got this place that serves like a mixture of Asian cuisine. It's like sushi, Thai food, and then they do this thing called Korean fried chicken. And it's like like buffalo wings but Korean fried.
Oh.
And I don't know what they do, but oh my goodness gracious, it is just one of the best things I've ever had.
Sounds
Should you guys ever come to my area, I'm taking you all for Korean fried chicken.
Oh, I'd love
There is
it.
a place in Grand Rapids that does that too.
Okay.
It's a microbrew
Ooh,
Okay.
brewery that does it. So yeah.
I have to extend the invite as well. Like our big cuisine out here is, we have the best Little Italy in
Mhm.
so the Boston's North End. It's
Nice.
infamous. There's like 100 Italian restaurants in like a 2 square mile radius, and it's and they're very competitive. So the food is just like top notch for if you want Italian, right?
I love Italian food. I have an Italian wife. She cooks for me every now and then. It's something else.
That's awesome, man. So hey Howard, where can on the socials and stuff, where can people find you? Website? What's the best place? And I'll tag you.
Best place to find me is on Facebook, and my Facebook is me, Howard Ulyate.
Cool.
Ulyate.
Nice.
Really, that's the best place.
And you have a website too, ulyateinstruments.com.
Yes, it's been a while since it hasn't been updated in quite some time. As a matter of fact, I think you're my web guy.
I am.
Are you my web guy?
I am. Yeah, but your contact info is on there. So yes.
Okay, the website. Yeah, it's ulyateinstruments.com.
Cool.
It's my website, and that's pretty much. But really, the best way to get me is on Facebook Messenger. If you're interested in consulting on a set of pickups, I'm almost always on there as I'm working, checking it. I'm always available to talk pickups.
I just actually, Jay, I gave somebody your info, by the way, just FYI. This guy named Jay. Anyways, yeah. So,
Jay.
But dude, this means a lot. Thank you, and man, you guys are.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was awesome. Just chat.
You're geeking out with us.
I love it, man. So good, man, and just be safe out there, and all you guys. Let's all sign off. So let's, John.
You can go to either justmoody.com or all the socials is at monjudy.
Cool.
Tony Puleo here. You can Tony Puleo 1 on Instagram, which I'm a little behind on. I apologize, but the basis Tony Puleo on Facebook, and just my name, Tony Puleo. You'll find me on there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Araujo, the bass hang, but this is going to go out. Big Bottom crew talking to Howard Ulyate from Ulyate Instruments. Don't you guys hang up. I'm ending the video for the public, but hang on, guys. So
this is a soft goodbye.
This is a soft goodbye.
That's a soft goodbye. Yep.
Now the real conversation starts where when we.
It sounds so dirty. The soft
We're
goodbye.
gonna learn that middle finger thing from Tony.
Dude, exactly. All right, guys, hang on. I freaking love you guys. Stay safe out there. Thank you again. Really means a lot. So hang on one second. Goodbye, public. Bye.